So you had a phone call where we last left off with Trump 1.0.
Yeah, Trump 1.0, he called me to Bedminster the same time he was interviewing Mitt Romney. So my wife and I flew out to Bedminster, and he asked us, could we stay for dinner? We did. Then he asked me to come back to the Trump Tower, and I understand Hope Hicks is now your CEO.
Yeah.
So you should ask Hope about the stories of...
I will.
And the little card that I helped her with, you can ask her about that story at that time for asking President Trump to announce. And, I visited him multiple times, and I was really thinking exactly what you just said. Maybe I could make a change by going into the government. But I was in the middle of building this BioShield and the platform. So he offered me, he said, Patrick, what would you want to do? Can you go talk to Tom Price? I would love you to come in. And I said, listen, Mr. President, give me 4 years. Let me work on this. And then in your second term, we can talk about it. He didn't have a second term. He had, and now he's got the second term. So it's given me 8 years. And now this is where we are. So when I was with him at Riyadh, with MBS, and in Qatar with the Emir, I shared, if you could see these videos with him, this conversation that we have now, the BioShield. And this is not only important for...
You shared it with Trump?
With President Trump, yeah.
Okay.
And his response was, please come and talk to me. This is important. And obviously he's been occupied with more important things of the world, which is going on right now, thank goodness. And hopefully he gets a Peace Prize for what's going on in Gaza. But I think the opportunity now for us, for him as the president, to be able to make that difference and cut through this bureaucracy and this dogma for a drug that's already approved that can change the course of cancer, for which a drug that we have now in trials sponsored by the National Cancer Institute to prevent cancer with patients who don't have cancer. To my knowledge, it's the only molecule that's gone through those large phases. So that is where I am now, where...
I mean, if President Trump could oversee some sort of a medical protocol that prevents cancer and cures cancer, the very thing that Joe Biden did say he was doing with the cancer moonshot, it would absolutely cement his legacy. I mean, truly, even the left would have nothing left to criticize him over, right? Peace in the Middle East and curing cancer, or preventing some sort of a medical protocol that doesn't sound that invasive, where you could potentially prevent cancer.
And the prevention of cancer has been now completed and completely enrolled. We mentioned it in Lynch syndrome, and injected throughout the country. Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, MD Anderson, every unit has injected this into healthy people.
If you have Lynch syndrome, they'll give you this.
It's already been given.
It's almost better to get Lynch syndrome at this point.
You don't want Lynch syndrome,
okay.
Yes. But 1 out of 280 Americans have Lynch syndrome.
But what are we going to do? What else are we going to do? And now that we see this rash of cancers amongst the young people, as you were talking about, like young kids with colon cancer, you're mentioning age 13. I've seen that too. But lots of kids in their 20s, like young 20s coming down with colon cancer, like aggressive forms. They don't know why. Some people think it might be linked to the COVID virus or the COVID vaccine, but I've heard the virus itself may be like in the bodies, making them more likely, like almost priming them for cancer. And so, I mean, do you feel like this protocol of yours would stop that, would help?
Let's talk about that first. I was really reticent. I was invited like a year ago to speak directly to the NIH and the Department of Defense about our findings on what COVID's doing to the body with regard to actually stimulating cancer. We have in our body a gene called P53 that actually prevents cancer from occurring. Elephants have 8 P53s. That's why elephants don't get cancer.
Wow. Did not know that.
So you could be an elephant and you'd be fine. Guess what COVID does? It knocks down P53.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, no.
And we're about to publish that. Dr. Carlos Cardone and I have done the work. It knocks down P53. And if you have any latency, and so therefore it's what I consider no different from HPV, which causes cancer with a latent period of, once you have HPV, 5, 10 years. Now we are seeing for the first time in America head and neck cancer from HPV exceeding that of cervical cancer.
Oh.
So I just tweeted about 4, 5, now 6 patients with head and neck cancer in our clinic. And we're about to start now a randomized trial in head and neck cancer, where we're getting responses 6 out of 6.
So you wouldn't take it, like if you had HPV but you didn't yet have cancer. I guess I shouldn't say yet because you're not guaranteed to get cancer if you have HPV. But if you had HPV but you have not gotten cancer, that would be a good time to do this.
It's a good time to actually maintain your ALC, your lymphocyte count. It's like, is it good to maintain your hemoglobin if you're anemic? Is it a good time to keep your blood sugar down with insulin if you're diabetic? It is part of your human biology. So yes, you need to monitor your ALCs, and that's exactly what I'm trying to get approved, is if you have low NK cells and T cells, whether you have cancer, whether you have infection, or whether you're elderly, or whether you have had COVID. So we have a trial now going on for the long COVID where we're giving this BioShield for patients with long COVID.
Oh.
It's open. So what we did now out of desperation is just, okay, fine. We're going to try and do this. I don't know how sustainable we can do all these trials, because I'm getting beat up by saying, why are you just doing all these trials? Because we've been forced to. So I was telling you about the lung cancer.
So in other words, the FDA keep telling you, no, not unless you do these trials.
So in our lifetime, will we get, are we going to avoid ovarian cancer? Are we going to avoid triple negative breast cancer? Am I going to avoid pancreatic cancer? Because we can't do randomized trials that each trial costs $200 to $300 million.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And how many people do you need?
200 to 500 to 1,000.
Oh, boy.
Per trial.
Well, wouldn't that be easy to find? I feel like finding the people might be easier than funding it, because everybody with cancer is desperate for a way out.
Not only finding it, that's why I'm saying we got this desperation call of 10,000 people since Tucker Carlson and since us having this conversation. And we can't play God. I don't want to play God. This should be available for the rest of the country. And one man can make that available for the rest of the country of a drug that's already approved.
Right.
So the answer is, at least for lung cancer, and soon we'll open up for head and neck cancer, and soon we open up for colon cancer, these trials. But I'm getting calls for young ladies with triple negative breast cancer in their 30s. I'm getting calls for glioblastoma, which we have failed. And the good news, we've got patients now 8 months, 10 months since we started that. So we know it's sort of unstoppable in terms of the biology, that if you get your ALC up, you have a shot. So my frustration is said, I wrote this forward called The Calling Beyond Cancer, Doctor's Reflection, Purpose, Power, and the Possibilities Within. And I watched Jane Goodall's Last Words. I don't know if you've seen that on Netflix. She recorded herself knowing that it will only be released when she's dead. Mm-hmm. And she died 2 days ago.
Right.
About your purpose in life. And she felt that was her purpose in life, to create communication with the world and make a better place, and spent a life understanding chimps. I really believe that the purpose of my life is to figure out how to actually execute the power within yourself to actually fight this disease. Mm-hmm. So that's what.
So do you have anything upcoming with the administration?
I have a meeting coming up with the FDA, not with the administration. I hope that maybe, once things have settled down, I have a chance to sit down with the president again. He was really engaged with me at Qatar, when I was with him in Qatar and with him in Riyadh.
That was just 4 or 5 months ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of disarray right now in HHS, as you could see, some from the polls. I'm just hopeful that people actually understand the science, and I appreciate, voicing this now. I'm going to put this book together as fast as I can. so that, the details can be seen.
Yeah, and then do a book tour where you're everywhere.
Yes.
Smart.
Right.
But I mean, you're in front of the right people. It's just a question of whether they're going to do the right thing. That's, I don't know how it works exactly, because I'm very disheartened by that report you just gave us about Johnson & Johnson and whether they still have some sort of control over the FDA and there are dual loyalties, or there's some incentive for our bureaucrats now still to be playing nice with big pharma and potentially squat, because there's just no other reason why we are here decades into the cancer battle with what feels like so little progress, other than it's a moneymaker for these big pharma companies to have cancer not cured and to just have people go on and on and on getting treated as opposed to getting out of it. It's my own cynical take.
Right. And as I said, I can't make the assertion that's the motivation because I don't know, but it just appears incongruous to me that you can priority review for chemotherapy and not priority review for a biologic that is safe.
Buy gold and get free silver. That's right. For every $5,000 purchased from Birch Gold Group this month in advance of Veterans Day, they will send you a free patriotic silver round that commemorates the Gadsden and American flags. It's like the Cornelius purchase of gold. Silver and gold all together, thanks to Birch Gold. Look, gold is up over 40% since the beginning of this year, and Birch Gold can help you own it by converting an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Plus, they will send you free silver honoring our veterans on qualifying purchases. And if you are current or former military, Birch Gold has a special offer just for you. They're waiving custodial fees for the first year on investments of any amount. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider diversifying your savings into gold. Text MK to the number 989898 for a free info kit and to claim your eligibility for free silver with qualifying purchases. Before the end of the month. Do it before the end of the month. Again, text MK to 989898. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.